I thought that maybe we could chat while I work because we are in full on get ready for the movers. We have international movers and they'll be coming to pack us, but I have a lot of things to do to get ready, especially for our paintings. All of our stuff's gonna be put in a big container, shipped over the ocean. That will take a month to month and a half. So I thought, let me be working on my paintings the way I'm prepping them for the move. And then I want to bring you in closer after I do some catch up with you and tell you what I'm doing, because this is actually something that you can do for your own paintings, especially if you've got wet paintings that you're bringing home. This is a method I learned way back when I was an oil painter, and this is going to come in really handy now for packing. Okay, but first off, Grady, well, should I finish that train of thought? All of our stuff will be packed. The international movers have to pack us, which makes me kind of nervous because I'm pretty particular about my stuff. I have things like precious things from my grandmother, art supplies that don't feel like the norm that are to be packed, and blah, blah, blah. But they have to do that because of customs. Grady made it home. The inspection for the house went great. The house is really solid. It definitely is, you know, needs updating, and there's plenty of other things to be done. And we're just gonna take our time with that and be okay with, you know, a really out of date and maybe some things that just aren't perfect, because that's just part of this process, is sacrifice and change and all of that, which we're excited about. We are in a time right now that feels very stressful and tiring, and especially with work added. You know, we don't get to just stop our life. Grady's still working his job, and hopefully, what is today? Wednesday. Hopefully today, no, not today. Hopefully by the end of this week, at the absolute latest next week, we're going to be applying for our second part of the visa process, which will finalize everything. But I mean, we are literally, yesterday we scheduled the movers, and that's only a few weeks away. I kind of went into like stress mode, like, wow, this is happening. You know, just had one of my second to last maybe, family gatherings over Easter, which was bittersweet. You know, it just kind of, I really can't talk about it because I'll start crying, but you know, just the reality of leaving family and all that. Okay, maybe so I don't start getting emotional, let me move on to telling you about this. I think that was basically all I wanted to catch you up on. The house went great. We're moving forward with this purchase of that one, moving forward with the sale of this one. All the stuff. I mean, it is just a full on emotions. I'm not sleeping thanks to hormones in this season of my life. It's like 3 hours of sleep, possibly 4 or 5, but which is not great. Okay. What I wanted to tell you was, let's do something not so sad. So what I used to do when I was an oil painter was take matchsticks. I would buy the long matches and cut them into little bits. I ran out of my matches. I've just ordered some more, but right now I'm using skewers. I don't like skewers as much because they're round and the matches are flatter and also a little bit thicker. And so they're just easier to glue. But when I used to be an oil painter, I would glue matchsticks on the back, and then that would allow me to bring wet paintings home because I could stack them, and this, you know, keeps them from sitting on one another. I do have glassine. There's all kinds of ways that I could be protecting these. I decided to go this longer route. Actually, cutting glassine or even paper between all these is like not that much shorter of time. And this will help me when I get there for storage, because now I can store them in this way, stack them, because that way if there is any sticking, because with oil paint and acrylic, over time, you know, if things get warm, things can just stick. In fact, I have more issues with my old oil paintings than my acrylic paintings, you know, like sticking to one another. I wanted to jump on here real quickly because I'm editing this, and we just had a lady from the moving company come yesterday and like do an inventory of everything. And her family has been in the moving business for 5 generations. So she knows what she's talking about. But she said acrylic paintings don't have an issue, like that they have more issues with oil paints. So I thought that was interesting. And it also gave me a little like, whew, I probably don't have to be going to the extent that I am. And they wrap things in this like paper something. Just wanted you to know, I thought it was interesting, because when I think about my paintings that do have more of an issue just over time, being in a closet, air conditioned, climate controlled, that's what I'm thinking of. My brain is so smushed right now, that there will still be sticking, but when I think back, as I've been going through all my paintings, it's my oil paintings that I've had more issues with than the acrylics. So just something to think about. If you're an oil painter, you may want to take more caution. If you're an acrylic painter, you're probably fine. And it also tells me that I probably don't have to go to such extent in the future, but I still may because it's easy. So I just thought I'd mention that here while we're talking about storage and packing and that kind of stuff. And so this way, if there is any sticking, which I do find with the wood, with either the skewers or the matchsticks, the wood doesn't stick nearly as bad as other things. In fact, I spent a ton of time one day cutting up a bunch of really thin strips of like foam board because I thought, oh, that'll be perfect. But the foam board has like a slickety that's almost like plastic, and I just don't really want to take the chance of it sticking. I'd rather just do the matchsticks, I think. Maybe for paintings I don't care that much about. Maybe I need to remember and use these, but basically the best way to protect paintings is to keep them, from touching one another. And then that way too, in our new home, I can just have them stacked or even stacked like this, and that will be protecting. Because even in the closet right now, I don't have anything between them, and sometimes they're sticking because that's just how that is. I've been storing them with paper or glassine in between, but sometimes even that glassine will stick. So I'm just going the longer route. And you can either use like a rubber glue. I find that's a little bit harder and messier, even though it's not as like solid, but I need this to be on there pretty good. So I just put as little as I can of just Elmer's glue. And then these little matchsticks will just, let me come over here so you can see, will just pop off when you need them to. So now I'll just glue that back on. So you can see how I've got them here, and there's just enough space in between them, and they stack really nice. So I really like this method a whole lot. I've found that you can either put them on the corners, which I do sometimes. You can see here, they're on the corners. Or sometimes for the longer sections, I'll put them here instead. It really doesn't matter. I've definitely found if I have a board instead of like a thicker piece of wood like this, that's a little more pliable. On my bigger ones, I'm putting bigger strips or in different areas. If you have a big like matchstick or skewer, you don't have to put glue along the whole side. You can just put, let's say I was using this skewer. I could just put dots of glue, dun, 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 and put it on. It doesn't have to be on like crazy town. It just needs to kind of be there. For bigger paintings, as I get bigger and bigger with my paintings, I'll have to put more support because, let me grab one and show you. Because like these are pretty big and it needed more support. So I've got them on the edges and in the middle because they'll kind of bow down if you don't. So as I get bigger and bigger, I'll just have to kind of keep an eye on that. So what I've decided to do is each day I just take a little bit of time to do a few and pray that I'm done by the end. And then for paper paintings, I haven't mentioned this, but paper paintings, I am just putting paper in between paintings because that will be enough protection. Okay, here's an example. This is stuck a little. And see, that's an oil painting. Yeah. That's part of it. But hopefully this was a good tip, something that you can do. I think what I'm going to start doing for my boards is just do this in the prep when I'm like prepping them, gessoing or whatever I'm doing. Just go on and add this because that's nice for like travel or even just if I'm going out for like a day to go paint, which guys, I literally can barely help myself. I cannot wait to get to England to paint. I absolutely cannot wait. I feel like I don't know. I feel like I'm going to like just explode. I can't wait. All right, I feel like I'm not getting much done as I'm chatting with y'all. I thought I could chat. I don't know why I really thought I could do that because I'm not somebody who can talk and work at the same time, like at all. At all. So I'm gonna pause the camera so I can get more than 1.5 of these done in the amount of time that we've talked. But we'll continue to bring you along. I think the next step will be, I don't know, but we'll bring you along. Okay. We are heading out of the house and thought I'd give you a little life update. We filled out the visa. Finally got that filled out over the weekend, which took all weekend. Way more time than what we expected, huh? We're headed down to Atlanta to do our biometrics for our visa stuff. This has been a long time in coming. We just did this. We did like a little fist bump. This camera, sorry y'all, the camera is shaking big time. I didn't think about the fact that we're in the truck, which is like a covered wagon. Quick update. We're heading down for our biometrics as part of the visa process to prove who we are. Prove we are who we say we are. Right?
Yeah, as if there's two Sandys.
We've been waiting to do this for a long time. I feel like there were some other things. Maybe I need to pick up the camera once we're in the hotel room because this is so bumpy. Okay. Basically, we're in the car, headed to Atlanta. 4 hour?
4 hours.
Huh?
We'll see you in 4 hours.
A 4 hour drive down. Okay. Bye. Good morning. We are waiting to head to go down to breakfast. Had a decent night's sleep and we're about to go grab breakfast and then head over for our biometrics. And I'm having coffee and sitting here doing some sketching. We have a pretty cool view. It's a city view, which is quite hard. I feel like I have crud in my eyes. Okay, here. We're hoping to knock this out and get back on the road. We've got to stop at our old campground and get our fire pit. So it's gonna be a little bit longer day, but we'll have that done. Here's Grady in his same clothes. Just kidding.
Well, it's only been...
But he literally only brought one pair of boxers and his allergy meds. That's all he put in the bag.
I put my toothbrush in there.
Oh yeah, and toothbrush. Fresh. Okay, we're in the elevator. We just had our free breakfast. I don't know why I get excited about free breakfasts, but I always do. The hotel's great. You just get me a donut. I'm always
Yes.
like, woo! And it's never good, but never. But I always get so excited about free breakfast. Okay, but I was going to tell you this.
Prepaid breakfast.
Well, did you notice the guy? You didn't notice, but we just walked by a guy. He was a grown man. He had 13th floor. 6 big muffins.
Ooh.
And a big pile of bacon. That's all he had for breakfast.
That's what I would do.
I thought that same thing. Okay. We're gonna go see if we can get in early for the biometrics and then get on the road early. That's what we're gonna do. That's the plan.
Let's see.
We are here at our campground, our campsite that we bought years ago, and Grady is gonna load up our fire pit. Maybe I should help him. I'm gonna put the camera down to help him. Good morning. I just have a few minutes because there's a lady from the mover company that's coming to like assess everything, basically tell us probably what we can and cannot pack, which I'm feeling a little nervous about, but I wanted to jump on real quick, checking the time. Yes, I've got a few minutes to chat with you. Wanted to update you on some things that I've been figuring out as I've been doing mass amounts of paintings, preparing them, you know, with the little wooden pieces, because there's a few things that I wanted to give tips on. First off, I am finding that most of them I'm now putting in the middle. I don't know if that's because I'm getting to bigger paintings. It really doesn't matter, but I do think as the paintings get bigger, the middle gives more stability than putting them on the edges or the corners. Also, I found that I don't like the skewers for a couple reasons. They pop off very easily, and I think that's mainly because there's such a small surface for the glue to attach. And secondly, I found that the matchsticks clip or cut so much easier. Just thinner wood or something, I don't know. But you do have to use like garden shears, and mine are really old, so they're not doing very good. The matches that I bought, these long ones, they're different from the first long ones that I had. They're thicker, which you would think is good, but they're splitting a lot when I'm cutting them. So you really have to find like the sharpest point. But I definitely am liking matches. I hope that I've bought enough. If I did not buy enough of these because I had to order the long ones, I'll just get not the short ones, but probably like the ones like these will be fine. But you do want to use the same size matchstick all around, because if I use part of it, it's bigger, and then on the other side it's smaller, it's going to be a little wonky. Lastly, this is taking forever. I keep finding bins in the garage of paintings. There's so many paintings. And I was thinking this morning, I need to go make sure I did all my big paintings. Actually, I know I haven't done them, because I want to make sure I have a large surface for the bigger ones, because they'll kind of bow the more you stack them or put them. So I'll need bigger matches. So I want to make sure I use my big matches on those. So I think I want to make sure I get that done today and just kind of keep chipping away. Today is May 5th. We literally fly out in 1 month. So June 5th, we are flying, and we will arrive June 6th in England. We are just like down to the wire trying to get things done. I have the longest to-do list. It was funny, over the weekend I had this to-do list that was really long, and then at the end of each day I looked at it and I'd be like, oh, I got one thing checked off. Everything is just like sucking up time and taking way longer than what we thought. I'm trying to not get anxious about it. We still have, a few weeks before the movers get here, but the clock ticking is getting louder and louder. But I also feel, for the most part, throughout the whole day, I feel constantly excited. As we get more tired, or if I don't get good sleep, I can feel like that anxiety. I think right now the biggest things that feel stressful to me is like today, this lady coming from the movers, because with International Move, they're just real strict about certain things. And, I just don't know with my art supply. I don't know. There's just a lot. So we'll just see. Then I think we'll have a little bit of time of just like continuing to do life and get ready and all of that. Grady, I don't know at this point, I'm pretty sure I've already told you, we both got our visas. Things are moving along. We have our plane tickets for flying out one way. Grady said, I don't think I've ever booked one-way tickets. And I'm like, well, no, of course not. So one-way tickets to England. I better put this down because I may poke my eye out. What else has been going on with all that? We're still like processing and working through our house sale, our house purchase, meeting with the contractors to work on our house stuff, which we love our contractor. We found a friend of mine used there, and we're just thrilled. He totally gets the vision of the house and what we're doing. If you missed that video, I did a video on here of our house, like a house tour of the house that we built here in Nashville, and also of the house that we're purchasing in England, which is a 100-year-old fixer-upper that we're going to be fixing up. So we needed somebody to help us with that. And I don't think I've told you this at this point. I can't remember if I jumped on after that meeting. I don't think I did, but our contractor found a fireplace in my studio hidden behind the wall. So we're going to probably expose that. He just, he's interested and loves old stuff too. So that's been really fun. So the house stuff, Grady's got a pile of admin stuff, and I'm kind of doing more of the thinking through packing and packing our house to go on the big shipment to go over the ocean. But also then I've got to figure out how to get the stuff that we need for a couple months. So life, work, toiletries, medical supplies. Some of my stuff just kind of gets big and bulky because of medical supplies and art supplies and business stuff. So, I've got to think of tripods and hard drives and all the stuff that I do behind the scenes that you don't really think about, but there's a lot of stuff. I said I was going to put this down, but I continue to wave it around. Anything else that's happened? We have our movers scheduled. They usually do it in 4 days, and for some reason we're doing it in just 2 days. Oh, that's the other thing. I'm feeling very anxious about that. I will be really glad when that's done. Then we'll be staying with my mom for a short bit, I think for 10 days. Oh, I was going to tell you about this. So then we fly over. And I was talking with my friend that lives over there that's going to be living real close to us. And she was like, so where are y'all? Do you know where you're going to be staying when you get there? And we're like, no, that's too far down the road. We are so there's so much just for today and so much on the plate for tomorrow. We just can't get too far down the road. So we don't know yet. We do know that for probably a couple months, hopefully not 3 months, but 2 to 3 months, we're going to have to kind of float around and live out of suitcases, which I think that will feel anxiety inducing right now. There's so much on my plate right now, and I'm trying to not get too far out with thinking about things, that I'm trying to just stay present, because if you go too far down the road, it just feels, you just were drowned with all the unknowns and stresses and unknowns. So we don't really know. I'm trying to look at it like adventurous, like let's be on an adventure. I don't know. We're just taking it one day at a time is basically how it is. Okay, I'm gonna try to go get a little bit of work done before she gets here. And then do that. I'm hoping this doesn't take very long and that it's not stressful. Did I already say that? I probably already said that. Can you tell I'm feeling a little? It's only 8:45 and my brain already feels so tired for today. I think it's because I'm nervous about this appointment, but it'll be fine. I'm sure it'll be fine. It'll be fine. It is May 10th in the afternoon. I'm currently trying to figure out what I want to do for that like month and a half to 2 months, possibly 3 months. Who knows what's going to happen? That we're going to not be in our house, not have access to any of the stuff that is loaded on the container that will go across the ocean. So I'm trying to decide. I know I'm going to take my watercolor gouache palette, so I'm topping all of that off right now. And then I'm trying to decide between, do I just take some of my acrylic gouache tubes or do I take my acrylic paint? I was leaning towards this and then I changed my mind. I asked Grady, he said, you're going to change your mind back and forth up until the day we are packed. So I think I'll get my two options ready and then I can, you know, put them in the suitcase, take them out of the suitcase, put it in, put it out. But maybe I should take water soluble stuff and then my acrylic paints. I just don't really know how much painting I'm going to get done because we're going to be doing a lot of house stuff and we basically have to buy everything that has plugs. So all of our lamps, all of our kitchen stuff. I mean, there's just so many things. TV, on and on. Anything in your house that has a plug, we have to rebuy. Washer and dryer, dishwasher, we have to buy. There's just a lot of stuff. So I think we're going to be shopping a lot. And over at the new house, like, because a lot of construction stuff will be going on. But obviously I've got to have some kind of paints. And then I obviously will have friends close by that I could borrow stuff, and there'll be art stores. So I'm gonna do the things that I know I'm going to take, which is the watercolor, and then go from there. I may take some color pencils too, because that would be nice while we're sitting at coffee shops. But I haven't used that in a while, so maybe I shouldn't take that. I don't know. Do you see the dilemma? Life as an artist. Big decisions. I'm acting like I'm, you know, going on a safari and not gonna have access to stuff. So I just need to make a decision and go with it. Oh, I also wanted to mention this. This is the main reason I even picked up the camera, because I'm topping off my gouache and watercolor palette, which if you're wondering what I use, I've got a video that tells all about my palette, but I'm topping it off. Let me come over here near y'all. Topping it off here so everything, you know, is topped off. Here, let me sit down. The studio is crazy town. Actually, the whole house is, and actually y'all are too because the camera's wonky. Right now, let's straighten y'all up so we can have like a conversation that's not like this. I hear from y'all all the time about your gouache cracking. I don't know why I don't have an issue with that. I'm starting to kind of wonder, could it be the humidity here? I don't think that's it, because I feel like I hear from people all over the world. I think there's three things. One, is it because it's humid here? Two, is it because I use it pretty decently, but I do go through long spells of time that I don't use it? And then three, is it the way I fill them? So I'm often topping things off, like if there's a pan like this, I'm putting some in there, but you can see that that's not cracked. Now that one is specifically watercolor, but several of these are gouache and they don't crack. Once in a blue moon, I'll have a little crackage, but it's not like the kind that I see from y'all sometimes where it's like falling out. I just never have that issue. And I just squeeze it in here. Maybe I should show you. I'm not doing anything special, I don't think. Pretty sure I'm not doing anything special. Let me see if I can do this and show you. So that's it. I don't try to get it perfect, I just squish it in there. I probably did not have to tell y'all that I don't try to get it perfect. If you've been around here, you know I don't try to get it perfect. I am trying to get this lid semi-clean. I'm trying to do better about keeping my lids clean before I put the top on because it's always an issue, you know, it gets stuck. So I don't put glycerin in. I've seen people do that and they still have crackage. So I just don't really know, but I just don't have crackage. So we'll see. Maybe I'll figure it out because if we go to England, of course, it's probably pretty humid there. It rains a lot, but that doesn't necessarily equal humid, or does it? I don't really know. But we'll see if I am like, oh no, there's so much crackage. Then I'll know you gotta live in Nashville, Tennessee to have good non-crackage gouache. Okay, I'm gonna go back to this task. It's Saturday, we have so much to do. Like, we are 2 weeks away. When you're watching this filming right now, we're 2 weeks away from the movers coming. So there's a lot of work to do. So I can't be doing procrastinating chit chat with y'all, which is what I'm doing right now. I was trying to give you good tips, but okay, I'm gonna go work. Hello, I am jumping on really quickly because I was editing that video. Today is Monday and it is movers come week. So moving week, movers come. Today's Monday, they come Sunday. So the studio is, yeah, can you tell Bertha the easel is taken down? It's actually on the floor over here. Grady took it down the other day, but here's what I wanted to jump on here for. I got another clue for why gouache may crack. So my palette is always just staying out on the desk like this. Ooh, a big bird just flew by, like really big. It's always just sitting like this. I mean, maybe I'll close the lid and pop it in a bag if I'm going to a coffee shop or going to use it to paint out. But other than that, it's just sitting around like this. But because I'm packing, I went ahead and closed this, wrapped it in a big like Ziploc baggie and put it in the bag. Only for, I think it was only in there for a few days. And then I decided to do a sketch. Been trying to paint a little bit, not every day, but most days. And I opened it and guess what? Chunks of gouache fell out. It had cracked. So I was like, okay, that's a little hint, because I think what's happening is when I have it open, it's pulling moisture from the air. So I think what I'm going to do is close it and not wrap it in plastic. I think I'm gonna just close it and wrap it in like I've got a bag that's made out of like fabric. So it's cotton breathable. So I'm gonna put in that. I think I'll probably still have some crackage, but I think it's a mixture of the fact that I use it a lot, but also because moisture. Maybe that's why people do glycerin in it, but I just don't really want to fool with that. I need to just be able to squeeze it out and go. But I'm gonna leave it open until I leave instead of having it days wrapped up, because from here we're going to my mom's and staying for about 10 days, and then I can keep this open and then close it for our 24-hour travel over to England, and then try to remember to open it. But even if it cracks, it's fine. All I did was squirt some water and stick it back in, and yeah, and it was fine. It was just like this white one, the top had like popped off. It was kind of weird. But that could be a little clue. Okay, I need to get back to like work, but I just thought I needed to tell y'all that. Maybe that's the tip. Keep it open and out and use it. Plus, if it's sitting out, it maybe would help you use it more. Okay, I gotta go. Okay, I've already taken my mic off and started working, but let me hold this down here. So I've already taken my mic off and started working over there, but I forgot I wanted to tell you this. Wait, I just forgot again. Oh, yes. So we're 2 weeks out, and I think what I'm gonna try to do, this feels slightly impossible, but I think I'm gonna try to do a practice packing, because I need to fill the 4 suitcases. I have to get everything in these 4 suitcases, which feels daunting. for, a couple months of clothes, all the work stuff. I think I've already talked about this in another video, but yeah, I think I have. So maybe I shouldn't talk too long about this, but I'm going to try to do a practice pack with all the stuff like it has to be like immediate stuff that I'm using. I don't know if that will work, but that's what I'm going to try sometime this week. I'm not sure why I felt the need to tell you that, but I did. Okay, back to packing.